She left them on my porch like unwanted deliveries. 2 kids, a suitcase, and a note that read, "You'll manage. I need a break." Then she got in her car and drove off. I stood there in the fading sunlight, watching her taillights disappear, the weight of her decision pressing down on me like a brick on my chest. My sister, Melissa, the same woman who once held my hand through every storm, had just handed me her children and walked away for what she called an 8-week reset. But this wasn't burnout. It was about control. I used to think family meant loyalty. We'd grown up under the same roof, small, cold, and full of silence, learning how to survive with pride instead of asking for help. Somewhere between survival and success, though, Melissa picked up a different lesson: manipulation. When her marriage collapsed, she played the victim. When she got fired, she called it sabotage. And when she left her kids on my doorstep, she claimed I was doing her a favor. That favor quickly turned into a cage. She stopped answering my calls, stopped sending money. 8 weeks stretched into 10, then 12. The kids cried for her. I made excuses. When my savings began to vanish under the weight of bills, I called her, told her that if she didn't come back soon, I'd have no choice but to report her for abandonment. That's when she struck back. The attack came 2 nights later. The house was still the kind of quiet that feels wrong, until it wasn't. A knock at midnight, a shadow by the window, then shattering glass. When I came to, I was on the floor, blood dripping down my temple, the kids screaming in the background. Nothing had been stolen. They hadn't come for valuables, only to send a message. And I knew exactly whose message it was. Melissa was rewriting the story. Suddenly, I was the unstable one, the unfit, and the woman who couldn't cope with stress. If she painted me as dangerous, she could reclaim the kids and play the savior again. So I switched tactics. "Melissa," I said over the phone, voice calm, "I'm fine now. Maybe I overreacted. Take as long as you need." She believed me. She always did. While she basked in her false victory, I started gathering quiet proof. The hospital report, the police file from the break-in, the neighbor security footage showing 2 of her ex-husband's friends outside my house that night. And then came the text. One of those men accidentally sent it to me instead of her. It read, "She said you'd be alone." That was all the confirmation I needed. But instead of running to the police, I went to her ex-husband first, the man she drained dry during the divorce. I laid everything out, the evidence, the footage, the messages. I didn't ask for anything in return, just that he see the truth. He didn't hesitate. Within a week, he filed for emergency custody, accusing her of neglect and orchestrating the attack. Every document, every timestamp, every clip pointed straight back to her. When the court date arrived, I finally called her. "You'll regret this," she hissed. I smiled into the phone. I already did, but not anymore. She arrived in court dressed like innocence itself. White dress, soft tears, trembling hands. She talked about love, about stress, about how I had twisted everything. But when the judge brought up the text, the one tying her directly to the assault, she faltered. Her lawyer stumbled. And for once, Melissa couldn't lie her way out. The ruling hit her harder than any blow could. Temporary custody of her kids went to her ex-husband. The restraining order against me was lifted. And now, an investigation into her involvement in the attack was officially underway. As she left the courtroom, she didn't glance back. I watched her go, smaller, slower, quieter than I'd ever seen her. What I felt wasn't victory. It was silence, the kind that settles after you've buried something rotten deep enough that it can't rise again. That night, I tucked the kids into bed. "When's Mommy coming to get us?" they asked. "Not for a while," I said softly. They nodded, trusting, and drifted off to sleep. I stood by the window, staring out at the same street, where she'd abandoned them months before. I should have felt guilt. Maybe somewhere inside I did. But mostly I felt balance. She'd spent years turning love into control, twisting truth into leverage, playing the victim in every story. This time, she was finally the villain, and the story didn't end her way. People say revenge doesn't heal you. They're right. It doesn't heal. It corrects. It restores the order betrayal destroys. Melissa taught me that love without respect is just control, and control without consequence is chaos. So I gave her what she never thought I would: consequences. Now the kids are safe. The house is still. And every night, when I lock the door, the air hums quiet. I think about that midnight knock she once sent to scare me. Sometimes I almost hope to hear it again, because this time I'd be the one waiting.